Doing a lot of the talking today, but we're going to do this in the format of a game show. I'm not going to have you come up. I'm basically going to have you raise your hand. I'm going to pick on you. You're going to tell me whether a person on the screen is right or wrong, or you're going to pick a person who you think is right on the screen, and you get to pick either a $5, $10, or $20 bill out of this bag. Certain of you, and please be brave, today will get a chance to go into the money machine. I will give you that option. Please don't let me just ship this all the way from Chicago and no one want to go in it. It's fun, it's good. If you're feeling a little hot today, it gives you a nice little refreshing breeze. And I guess I already ruined my last point. Game shows usually give away money. Does this mean you're going to give away money? And the answer is yes. I'm going to put a little more volume here just to make sure we're going to hear this first question. And here it is. And this one isn't necessarily one of those ones that you're going to be writing down the answer to. So just it's more how the game is played. What was the earliest form of human currency was a question I asked of Lori and Becky. All I'm looking for is one volunteer to raise your hand and say yes or no. Do you think Lori and Becky can correctly answer that question? It's as simple as that. Anybody want to try it in the back row? What do you think? Yes or no? No. You're going to say no. We're going to click here on no, hear what they have to say, and listen up.
What was the earliest form of human currency?
Of human currency? Teeth.
Isn't it? Bones. Something, body parts.
Right?
All right, what's your final answer?
My final answer is probably going to be a piece of wood.
What, you got a final answer?
Come on, guys. I see.
That's your final answer? All right, that is the correct answer.
Oh! I
Right.
hate the bio.
What happened to the back seat?
I had to sell it for gas money, which I spent on a novelty horn.
Maybe we should talk to a financial planner.
Financial Panther, eh?
Mr. Simpson, you're $1 overdrawn.
Get him, Shiva! I'm on board.
Well, the answer we were looking for was human teeth. You did volunteer, and I would like to thank you. There's a little $5 bill for not even getting the correct question right. So the answer again, human teeth, again, not one of those ones we want to retain, but we do want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to having a credit card. How many of you have at least one credit card? How about 2, 3, multiple, 4, 5? Okay, again, not going to pull you up on stage, just trying to give you an idea. Yeah, about 78% of college students do have credit cards. And there are good things, bad things, and very ugly things when you have those cards. Some of this you may already know, some of this is a good reminder, some of these may be eye-opening facts that I'm going to give you. All of the fees associated with having that card. You have an annual fee just to hold that piece of plastic, just to use it for that year. Could be free in some cases, but most of the time it's going to cost you $30, $40, $50 or more. Mine, I got something in the mail, was $495 to have this piece of plastic. Actually, I think it was made out of metal at that time. If you are late with your payment, even 1 day late, 1 hour late, they will hit you with a fee. If you go over your limit of $500 or $1,000, again, another fee. And if you don't pay off your entire balance on time every month, they are going to hit you with interest or finance charges. Banks make billions of dollars on these fees. But the good news is, all of the fees that I've told you or shown you up there are negotiable. So let's say you are late with a payment. Gosh, just forgot about it. It's finals week, whatever it might be. Call the credit card company. There's always a 1-800 number. Let them know. Put it in my record that I am late with this payment. Forgot about it, whatever the reason, give them an excuse or two, and then when your bill comes and it has that ugly late fee and the ugly finance charges, what you want to do is talk to them, call them back up and say, hey, would there be any way you could reimburse me or credit me both the late fee and the interest or finance charges? You can even say, look in my record, it shows that I told you that I was doing this, I knew it was going to happen, so now I would just like to recoup that money. Now the bad are people who live beyond their means. Okay? What they do is if they have $1,000 to spend, they spend $1,050, or they spend $1,200, or they spend $2,000. In other words, they're spending more than the money that they have. And credit cards make it very easy for that to be able to happen. What I'd like all of us to do is live below your means, beneath your means, or at least within your means. So if you have $1,000, spend that $1,000. I would rather you actually only spend $800 and save some of that money for the future. The good is sometimes you don't have the cash. You have a big ticket item, you have a computer, you have books, you have automobile repair, something like that that you don't have the cash. So actually, having a credit card makes it easy to pay for those expenses. And it also helps establish your credit rating, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. Now, when things get really, really ugly, you start maxing out one credit card, moving on to the next, moving on to the next, and that's exactly how I got myself into trouble. I was on my third credit card upon graduation, again, over $7,000 in credit card bills. Credit card fraud is also another thing you can get yourself into by having a credit card. Somebody who you know, somebody who you trust, could take that information. Somebody who you don't know, who you have no idea who they are, could take that credit card information and start buying things on your behalf. Okay? So having a credit card opens you up to that. And I never really thought anything about credit card fraud until I got a phone call one day, and the person on the other line said, "I think you're a victim of credit card fraud." And I thought, oh, you know, it's probably because I travel and do this presentation. I rent cars, I eat at restaurants. You know, it's around the country. And they said, "Well, have you ever signed up for lavalife.com?" I'd never heard of lavalife.com, so I was like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And then they said, "How about match.com?" They said, "How about eharmony.com?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've never signed up," and they're all dating services. I've never signed up for anything like this. But someone had taken my identity, taken my credit card information, and had signed up for all these services. Luckily, my credit card was able to notice this was happening, called me, made sure it wasn't me, and reimbursed me all of those funds. Now here's exactly how ugly things can get. Any Family Guy fans out there? Little fun on Spooner Street.
Look, why don't I just put us up at a nice hotel for a couple of days?
That's a great idea, Brian. It'll be like a little vacation.
Well, you might want to bring some cash with you. Because, you know, some places don't take credit cards.
But mister, I need real money. I can't take a credit card.
Oh, I see. Cash only, eh? No paper trail, eh? What are you selling? Reefer, crack, smack, horse, heads, shrooms, dust, meth? In my neighborhood? I don't think so.
Peter again taking things just a little too far. All right, so a lot of students will come up to me and they'll ask me, they'll say, "Well, when I'm late with a payment, is that a big deal? You know, if I'm 3 days late, 5 days late?" Late is late. So my goal for everybody in this room is to pay your entire balance on time every month. When that bill is due, you've got to get it there. Now, if you're not able to make the entire payment, at least make sure your minimum payment is there on time. Couple guaranteed ways to do this. Number one, set up an Outlook reminder. Set up some type of reminder. All these different devices we have, we set alarms. If it's the 15th of the month, the 16th of the month, back it up by a few days, send your payment in. If not, send at least the minimum payment in as soon as your bill shows up. So at least you're going to make one payment. And then if you have extra money before the bill is due, send another payment in. The $15 in the beginning, send another $30 or $40 at the end of the month. That will guarantee that you are not going to be late. So those folks that are paying their entire balance on time every month, congratulations, you are a superstar. Believe it or not, banks love you for that. And you may be thinking to Patrick, I thought you said that banks make billions of dollars when people don't pay their credit cards on time and all these late fees. And that is a true statement. But they also spend a lot of money tracking people down who don't make their payments. And they're sending letters and they're calling and it just gets really ugly. So if you cannot pay your entire balance on time every month, my goal for you is to pay the minimum plus the interest that you owe. Pretty simple. The minimum will show up there as $15, $20. I want you to add to that. Maybe it's another $10, it's another $15. The bottom line is I want you paying more than the minimum. If you do that, you're better than the average Joe. Because the average person out there, these people are staying the course, they're making that minimum payment, they're making it on time, they're thinking, okay, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. And that's true, it's just that they're going to pay a lot more for that debt that they have accumulated over a long period of time. Now, of course, we've got some white space down at the bottom there, so you have those people that make the minimum payment, but oh my gosh, I forgot about it, forgot to make it on time, what can I do? All right? Those people, unfortunately, are asking for trouble. And there is a group of people out there that say, you know what, I don't even need to make a payment. What's the big deal? What's going to happen? Is anybody going to come after me? Well, a lot of times what happens is you graduate. You move from one city to another. Your bills are just going to go to your old residence, your old dorm, wherever it might be, and you think, they're not going to catch up. What can happen? Well, your social security number is tracked to that credit card bill. So again, eventually you're going to go to buy some bigger ticket item, and they're going to say, what about this credit card that hasn't been paid on in the past 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, etc. these people unfortunately are considered financially doomed. Let's get on to another question. I need a couple people here. I asked this person, Gerson, you'll see here in a second, and Tiana to pronounce the word amortization and use it correctly in a sentence. Well, I just pronounced it for you, but I want them to pronounce it and use it in a sentence. So would anyone like to take Gerson? Does anybody have a lot of faith in Gerson? I'll give you Gerson. I've also got Tiana. Tiana's number 2 in the back. I'll give you Tiana. And neither, meaning neither is going to get it right here in the front. I'll give you neither. And let's listen to what they both have to say.
Okay. Can you pronounce this word and use it in a sentence?
Immortalization. I went through the process of immortalization.
I went through the process of immortalization. Okay?
How Gerson added a few letters there. Not exactly the answer we're looking for. I think he's also thinking about living an awful long time there. How about Tiana? Come on, Tiana.
Pronounce this word and use it in a sentence.
Amortization.
Immortalization. Okay.
She has an amortization her dog.
She had to immortalization her dog. Okay.
Not quite there. Tiana, we like the pronunciation, not exactly using in a sentence, which means you are a winner. I give you an opportunity. There's a bag here filled with cash, or would you like to be a person that goes into this booth right there? I think everyone's talking here into the booth. Come on up. Come on.
Stuck it everywhere.
It's easy.
Oh, that's my wife.
Just like stop it.
What do you make that money, bro?
Girl, just open your sweater and just take it in.
All right, so here's what I'll have you do. What's your name? Louis, here's what you're going to do. When you're in here, kick all the money into the center. Go ahead and step in there. And even when it's blowing around, it'll get caught in the corner, so just kind of move it around. The only thing you can't do is when the money's on the ground, you can't pick it up, or when it's stuck to the ceiling. So just when it's flying. But at the end, there'll be some bills stuck, they'll fall down, and you can grab those when they fall.
Yo, you about to
Fair
get that
enough?
money.
Are you ready for this? Are you nervous? Flying around. All right, let's put our hands together for Ludi. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Kick your feet around, kick your feet around. And she's definitely taking advantage of the How can we tell her to move her feet? There you go, there you go. All right, we'll give you a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And look on the ceiling, 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 ceiling. It's falling, it's falling, it's falling, it's falling. There you go. Taken off the ceiling. Well done. Ludi, count that up back at your chair. Let us know in a few minutes how much cash you have. However you're going to do that. Congratulations. All right, so when you amortize things, basically you're paying them off over time. I know we're probably just been in school for a couple of months, but let's start talking about spring break. Spring break, we're all going to go to South Padre Island, right? The typical student doesn't really save up money for spring break, so we put all these items on our credit cards. We've got our airline tickets, we've got our sweet-ass clothes, we're going to shake our moneymaker at the finest club. What else we got? 5 nights crammed with our friends at a transient hotel. Of course, we're going to need to eat, so another $1.25 for some fast food, and finally, we're going to have our beverages. Our grand total for this wonderful 5 days in South Padre is about $1,000. Now, some of you out there may be thinking, Patrick, I can get this trip for a lot cheaper than that, and that's fine. You may be thinking, I'll never go on spring break. This can be any $1,000 worth of anything that you would put on your credit card. And the question that I have for each and every one of you, or a couple of you, if you pay only the minimum, which let's say is $20 per month, how long will it take you to pay that balance off provided your interest rate is around 21.9%. Now I know someone's probably on their calculator doing the math right now. So we're basically saying you're paying 20, 20, 20, but at the same time, the interest is accruing, and you're actually not really hitting $20 off that $1,000 balance. Any guesses, not to win money or any cash, how long do you think?
67
67 months, years, days? Months, 67, so about 5 years, 5.5 years?
62 months.
62 months, 67, 62, what do you think? 60, you're right in the 60 range. Okay, would you believe you're a little bit off? The answer is 149 months. 149 months, so a bit double of what you were all saying. So basically what happens, a lot of you in this room will be celebrating your 30th birthday around the same time you're paying off your $1,000 balance from your freshman year spring break. But don't despair. There is the exact same scenario is going to appear here in a second. The only difference is I want you to pay more than the minimum payment. I want to show you the huge difference it's going to make to not get stuck into that rut of the $20 per month. So you're going to pay $50 a month. And I know there might be a month where you can't afford that $50. You're thinking, oh geez, I only have 20. Pay the 20. There might be another month where you only have 30. There might be a month where you could pay $70 toward that credit card. Your annual interest rate, again, is 21.9%. How long do you think it would take to pay the balance off now? How many? 87 months? Any other guesses? 70, 79?
90.
67.
90?
100.
100?
67.
As much as the 149 shocked you, where do you see this number? 26 months. Totally on the other side of things. You're paying more than that minimum, and you are going to pay not only less over time, but take a look at this. Scenario 1, you paid about $3,000. By the time you made those $20 payments over and over and over 12 years, you're going to pay $3,000 for that $1,000 trip. Scenario 2, you paid a little bit of interest, $265. But we want to try to pay the entire balance if we can, if not more than that minimum payment. All right, we've got Matt, a senior at Buena Vista University. And I asked Matt the simple question, well, I thought it was, if I said you had a nice fair Isaac score, I'd be talking about your blank. Well, do you think he's going to get it correct, yes or no? What do you think?
No.
No. We're on no. Let's try it out.
If I said you had a nice fair Isaac score, I'd be talking about, what was fair Isaac score? Fair Isaac score. Hitting on me? I'd be hitting on you.
You gotta be kidding me! That is hysterical! Oh, man!
Means you're a winner. You're gonna give you a bag? You good with bag?
Yeah.
Pick a bill, any bill. It's a 5, a 10, or a 20. You can dig down deep. You can take right off the top. Here we go. Digs down deep. $10 winner. $10 winner. How did we do? 20 in the money machine. Congratulations, right? Well done. All right. So what are we talking about? Fair Isaac score. I heard a couple of you say it. We're talking about your credit score, your credit rating, and that's exactly what it is. So there's this company out there, the Fair Isaac Company, and what they're doing is they're compiling a score for you, much like when you took the ACT or the SAT, right? You wanted the highest score possible, and that's the same thing is true with a credit score. So how do they get this credit score? Well, or this Fair Isaac score. What they do is they look at a few factors, and they're very secretive about it, but they let us in on a few little hints. The first one is they tell us that paying your bills on time, get it? See why I emphasize that so much, is worth 35% of your grade. So all of these little lines in here on this sample credit report are showing how many times you're 30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late, 120 days late. You don't want numbers in those columns. Number 2, another 30%, kind of crazy wording here, but debt to credit ratio. How much debt do you have to how much credit you have is available? Does anybody have a credit card with a $1,000 limit on it? Right? Probably pretty typical. If you have $900 on that credit card, guess what? That's not a good debt to credit ratio. You have $900 to the $1,000 available. It's basically 90%. Typically, on a report like this, they like to see 30%. 90% blowing it out of water, not good, and your credit score is going to decrease. So look at that, 65% of those two things you have a lot of control over. In fact, you have control over all of these. Your credit history. How long have you had a credit card? How long have you had a student loan? How long have you had any kind of loan? A bank loan, a car loan, a mortgage, a house loan. All of these things help establish your credit history. There's a lot of people, especially millennials like yourselves, who say, oh, I don't want to get a credit card. I know that I can get in a lot of trouble. My parents, my older brother and sister, my younger brother and sister have gotten in a lot of trouble. I'm not the one to tell you to get that credit card, but it does help you establish your credit history. And oh, by the way, we're not looking for email addresses. I'm not trying to sell you anything as part of this presentation. It's definitely an educational experience. Credit inquiries. When you go to sign up for that department store credit card, when you're waiting and they say, would you like to save 10% today? And basically that means, would you like to apply for a credit card? When you get something in the mail that you can apply for a credit card. All of those are considered inquiries, and they can drop your score a few points each time. So don't go to the gas station, the department store, the Visas, the MasterCards. Don't just try to get all of these cards just to say I've got a stack of credit cards, because what's going to happen is your credit score is going to fall. And finally, the variety of loans that you have. So basically, you as college students might just have a student loan, maybe a credit card or two, so it's not looked upon, and in fact, it's only 10% of your score. So now you're all wondering, and some of you again may know the answer to this question. What are your credit score, your credit report even used for? Well, believe it or not, and some of you would know, when you go to rent an apartment, your landlord is going to look at your credit score. When you go to buy a house, when you go to buy a condo, whenever you buy big ticket items, when you go to get a job, an employer may look at your credit report versus somebody else. You may have the exact same qualities as that other person, and because your credit report doesn't look as good as that other person, you could miss out on a job. If it's a detail-oriented job, if it's a financial-related job especially, because guess what? They figure if you can't keep track of your own finances, if you can't pay your own bills on time, how are you possibly going to do this for our particular company? Finally, we have little Johnny here. He was on his way to buy a car. So when you go to buy a car, they're going to look at your credit report. When you get car insurance, they're going to look at your credit report. When you go to get another student loan, or you go to graduate school, or you get another credit card, they are going to look at your credit report and your credit score. Okay, new question here. We've got Miriam, Matt, and Raina. Who of those three do you think bought the most outrageous item on their credit card? What do you think?
Matt.
Matt?
The first.
Miriam?
Yeah.
Will you raise it? And I'll give you Raina. So Matt, Miriam, and Raina, here we go.
Name the most outrageous item you bought on a credit card.
I think I've been pretty responsible as far as that goes.
Anything?
I bought a pair of shoes. That didn't fit.
That didn't fit.
I couldn't send them back.
Didn't send them back. Sorry to hear that.
Sure.
All right, we've got Matt's shoes that didn't fit. Let's move over. Try Miriam.
Name the most outrageous item you bought on a credit card.
It was a car repair. I don't even know what it was.
Car repair. Okay.
Okay, Miriam's car repair could be considered outrageous. How about Raina?
Name the most outrageous item you bought on a credit card.
Pair of jeans, $250.
Pair of jeans for $250.
Oh, yeah, well, I thought that one.
All right, let's listen up here. Who thinks, by applauding, that it's Miriam's car repair? At least the person that voted for Miriam usually claps here, right? Okay. Whoa, that's so loud. How about Matt's shoes that didn't fit? Whoa, that sounds like a tie. How about Raina's? Who's my Raina? I never remember Raina. All right, here's my next question for everybody. Who wants to share something, another $10 winner, who wants to share something outrageous that they bought with a credit card or maybe not? Share with the group. Anybody? Something outrageous. What'd you buy?
It wasn't outrageous. It was necessary for the place. It was my prom dress.
Prom dress. How much? Do you mind?
It was like $207.
$207? 200 something. What do you got?
I spent $200 on a massage.
Was it good? Next time.
Yeah, it was really good. It was worth it, but it was ridiculously expensive.
I would say yes, just what you said, but yes, ridiculously expensive. Someone else had their hand up. Go ahead.
My prom dress was $399.
$399 for the prom dress. Okay, how about you?
Mine was $468.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't
We got
even fit.
what?
And it didn't even fit. They wouldn't return it.
I know, right?
900?
Yeah, it was my senior prom. What she? On a credit card?
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Anybody else have any other outrageous expenses? Something tells me this, that I know who's gonna win this, because we've got prom dress, and then we've got massage. So I think it's fair to say, because it would be tough, we're gonna put $5, that's $195 massage. Did that include the tip for $200? Oh, tipping.
I'll be like,
All right, so these credit scores. Let's talk a little bit about these credit scores. So right now, I'm sure people aren't in the market necessarily to go and buy a brand new car, maybe not even to go and buy a house. But what my point of telling you this is the things that you do today, that you've done over the last couple of months, and you will do, are going to affect how much these items will cost you in the future. So don't sit here and go, oh, Patrick, I don't have to think about that for years and years. No, what you do now, you definitely need to think about it. So let's say it's graduation time and you need to buy a car because you need to get from where you live to where you work, right? So you're going to borrow $20,000 over a 5-year period to buy a particular car. When you walk into that car dealership, you're going to say, hey, I saw a commercial that says I can get 0.9 or 1.9% financing. And they say back to you, but did you listen to the fine print or read the fine print and listen to what they said at the end of that commercial? Does anybody know or have an idea? Go ahead.
It's usually when you have excellent A1 credit, then you get the 0.5%.
Exactly. They're saying for all qualified buyers. You're even hearing for well-qualified buyers, and sometimes they'll even say for extremely well-qualified buyers. Well, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So they're going to look at your FICO score, remember Fair Isaac score, and they're going to say, wow, you're 760 to 850. You're in the upper echelon of where your FICO score can be. You're going to get that 1.9%. Your payment's going to be $350. So over the life of the loan, you're going to pay an additional $1,000 for that car. The car costs $21,000. Couldn't be any simpler math. What happens, though, is you walk in there and have a little bit less of a good FICO score, still a decent score, but now your interest rate's going to be 3.9%. You're going to pay a little bit more per month, and again, an additional $1,000 over the life of the loan. And as you can see, as your credit score, your FICO score goes down, your interest rate goes up, your payment goes up, and this person at the bottom is driving around the same exact car as the person on the top. They're just spending about $5,000 additional dollars for that exact same car. Fast forward a few years, folks, you borrow $150,000 to buy a house, and you pay that back over a longer period of time, for instance, a 30-year period. Here's what happens. And again, these interest rates aren't exactly where they are today, but the highest Fair Isaac score, the lower the interest rate, the lower the monthly payment. When you get down into the bottom rung again, the difference is only $155, not to say only. But over the life of the loan, the person in the bottom tier there is going to pay $50,000 more dollars than the person at the top having the best Fair Isaac score or credit score. Quick question. Who do you want to be? I've got two people up here. I've got Toby and Roby. I'll try both of you right there. One of you has to be Toby and one of you has to be Roby. Roby on my right, Toby on my left. Ready for this? Here we go. Toby and Roby arrive at school. They both have a credit card in hand. They are very excited to have that credit card as much as they are excited to be at school. Toby goes out and buys gas and essentials. Roby goes out and buys the Xbox One and 5 games. But guess what happens? The good news is it's so new you both pay off your entire balance. Well done. So then what happens next? you start getting busy with school, different activities, obviously classes, studying, tests, etc. starts happening. So, and in addition, Toby starts eating off campus. Toby, you're like, I don't have time for this campus food. Roby, you go on a shopping spree. You're like internet, going crazy, having fun though, right? Toby, you pay off your entire balance, but late. Roby, you pay the minimum payment and late. Yeah. So the good news is, just kind of like what happened here, signs go up all over campus that the big money presentation is coming here. Big money, what's this about? What's this big money thing? Well, Toby says, I don't have time for big money. More important things to do, blows off big money. Roby says, I've got to get to big money. I've got to be here. I've got to watch what's going on. I've got to learn because no one else is telling me about this financial literacy stuff. So for the rest of the year, Toby just starts charging everything, whereas Roby focuses on paying down the balance. Well done. In addition to that, Toby, just like me, you're maxing out credit cards. You're also using that dreaded cash advance. Folks, do not use your credit card. I know it has the beautiful Visa MasterCard logo to take cash out of an ATM. Big mistake. Big, big, big mistake. I would say emergency situations, like bolded emergency situations. Now, Roby, even though you did see the big money presentation, you're kind of going on an occasional splurge here and there. Okay? So fourth year, it's graduation time. You both have about $15,000 in student loans. Maybe in your mind you're saying, wow, that would be cheap. Maybe it's going to be double that. But in addition to that, Toby, just like me, you have $6,000 in credit card debt. Ouch. Uh-oh. A year later, it's time to buy a car. Who do you think is going to get the least expensive interest rate on that car? Of course, Roby with 1.9%. And in addition to that, you both have your eye on this amazing apartment. And guess who's going to get it? Absolutely. Roby's going to get the apartment because Roby's credit report, when she presented it to the landlord, it looked great. You make your payments on time. A landlord doesn't want a tenant who can't make their credit card payments on time, yet alone rent payments on time. So again, 5 years after that, 10 years after graduating from school, Toby, you're still renting, which is no big deal. Driving the same car, again, I give you a lot of credit for that. But Roby, you've opened up a lot of opportunities for yourself. You could continue renting, but you also have the opportunity to be a homeowner. You obviously can buy a new car, maybe not every year, and if that's not even important, maybe you go on trips or travel or more because you have, again, this high credit score. So let's all try to be a little more like Roby. Roby, I'm going to give you an opportunity for the bag or the booth to give you a chance to get in there. I can bring the bag to you. You can come on up here and do a little booth.
I'll do the bag. I don't got that IQ accreditation.
Okay. All right, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, we got two $10 winners so far out of the bag. Let's see what we can do here. See what we can do. All right, we got a $5 winner. Congratulations for that. And we move on. There's this crazy word out there called phishing. 10 years ago when I was doing this presentation, I would talk about phishing, and a couple computer majors would raise their hand because they knew what it was about. I'm hoping when I say this word phishing with a PH that a lot more of you understand what it is, and I will tell you about it here in a minute. But I did ask Robert, Amanda, and Tim to pronounce it and use it correctly in a sentence. So, question, who wants Robert, who wants Tim, and who wants Amanda? Right here, who would you like? Robert, yes? Amanda, you haven't played yet, right? And Tim. Okay, Robert, Amanda, Tim. Robert, Amanda, Tim. Here we go.
Can you pronounce this word and use it in a sentence?
Fishing, and I have no clue.
Okay.
Yes, she did say phishing. I always wonder when I hear her say that when that thing in her house rings, does she go and answer the phone? Yeah. All right, let's try, let's move over to Tim.
I'm going to show you a word, and if you can pronounce it and use it in a sentence. Tim, can you pronounce it?
Fishing.
Okay. Can you use it in a sentence? Okay. All right.
All right, so we got fishing, we have fishing. Come on, Robert, pull through for us.
All right, let's try this. Can you pronounce this word and use it in a sentence?
That's phishing with a PH, and I believe that refers to online scammers where they fish for people through their email.
Okay.
Well done, Robert. Were you my Robert here? All right. Bag or booth? You can do the bag. I'm glad I talked you into the booth, right? Gotta get Bag person. Another $5 winner. Congratulations. So what are we talking about when we're talking about phishing? We're talking exactly as Robert said. We're talking about emails that you get, you receive, and they're phishing for information. They're not sending out hundreds or thousands, they're sending out tens or hundreds of thousands of emails. And although it is the worst white-collar crime out there, we're doing the best that we can to capture those people who are doing this. So what can we do to not become a victim? And I'm going to tell you, I do modify this presentation now and then. The first thing that I talked about here, or that I added recently, was be vigilant about your bills. A lot of people get their bills and they pay it, or they get their credit card statement, they just figure, oh, you know, it's fine, I'll just pay it. You've got to look at each one of those items. If you don't recognize something, you need to contact the credit card company immediately. Shred those documents that have important information, especially social security numbers, account numbers, driver's license numbers. Put them through a shredder. Shredding them once or twice, throwing them in the trash, don't do that. That's not considered shredding. Get them home if you've got a shredder at home, or even if you have one here in your residence hall. Don't give out your social security number to just anyone. If you're initiating the call to check on something, that's a better chance that you can give out your social security number. But if someone calls you and says, what's your name? Kayla, you know what, I need to check to make sure something in your record is right. Let me get your social so that I can compare what I have here on the computer. That's not a good time to be giving out your social security number. Folks, I know this is common sense, but a lot of people get all frazzled. The phone call comes in, they get a piece of mail, they get an email, they think, oh my gosh, my Google account, my whatever account, my credit card is going to come to an end if I don't provide this information, okay? Don't provide it. There's other ways that you can identify yourself, especially if it's over the phone. Avoid the too good to be true emails. Those are the ones that tell you that we need you to transfer, give me your account number or give me your wire number, and we're going to transfer money into that particular account. Unfortunately, thousands of people are getting that exact same email. They're looking, I hate to say it, for a few suckers who are going to give that information, and it is a lose-lose situation. So, just in case, my advice is copy those wallet contents. So you have credit cards, you have driver's licenses, whatever it is. Copy the fronts and backs. Put it in a secure place so that if your purse or wallet does get stolen, you have a place that you can go to access those numbers to cancel. All right, and finally, if it is too late, if you have become victimized by identity thieves, you need to file a police report. They're never going to catch them if you're just quiet about it. You need to share your story with friends. Don't be embarrassed if something strange happened to you and you had your purse, your wallet stolen, or somehow your credit was stolen, or your identity was stolen. And contacting the National Fraud Information Center is another good way to get tips on what you can do to get yourself out of trouble. And finally, putting a fraud alert on your social security number. That way, if anybody wants to get a credit card or open credit, they have to contact you so that they can open up that particular credit account. All right. A lot of people at this point are kind of scared. They're saying, wait a second, am I a victim? How do I know? Maybe someone's already stolen my identity. How would I figure this out? Well, there is a wonderful website called annualcreditreport.com. And this is actually provided by the government, okay? Government is giving us something for free. What they're giving us is they're giving us a chance to look at our credit reports. Now keep in mind, it's not your score, it's definitely just your report, so that you can see if there are any errors on that report. And they say about 60% of credit reports do have some sort of error on them. So what I'm not talking about is freecreditreport.com or freecreditscore.com. Those are no-nos. They are basically asking for you to sign up for something, which is a credit monitoring system. They're asking for $15 a month. They'll tell you you can cancel at any time, but I've never talked to anyone who's been able to cancel within the first 7 days, which is their cancellation policy. In other words, you're not getting anything for free. Now, there is a site out there called Credit Karma. One of the tricks with Credit Karma is being able to spell it correctly, because there's every variation with hyphens, with C's, with K's, with every other combination out there, and a lot of people get trapped and they have to buy things. But Credit Karma will give you your credit score as well as giving you a credit report. I find it safest, although, to go to annualcreditreport.com. And when you go to this site, you are going to have to provide some pretty personal information. Then they're going to ask, which of the credit reports would you like to see? There's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. So what I would advise is when you go in there today or within the next week, go and get your Equifax credit report. Check it out, make sure nothing's wrong, no errors. And then 4 months later, go back in and do your TransUnion. 4 months after that, get Experian. 4 months later, it's been a year, and you can go and get Equifax. In other words, absolutely positively free, you can monitor your own credit across all of the different credit reports. Who was on the $5 bill? Jessica, Ivanka, and Raina. Did you have a question?
Yeah, do they come up as inquiries?
That's a great question. When you do that, they should not come up as inquiries on the annualcreditreport.com. That's a great question. Thank you for asking. Would you like to choose one of these three people since I have your attention here?
I'll take Jessica.
Jessica is done. I've got Ivanka and Raina in the back row. Who would you like?
Raina.
Raina?
Yeah.
And I'll give you Ivanka. Here we go.
Who is on the $5 bill? Jefferson.
Okay, we have a guess of Jefferson. Let's move just down the line here to Ivanka.
Who is on the $5 bill? Abraham Lincoln.
Okay, we've got Ivanka with Abraham Lincoln. Let's try Raina.
Who is on the $5 bill?
A dead president.
A dead.
She's right. You are correct. Oh, believe me, I've given a lot of money away because Raina is a dead president. So we've got Ivanka and Raina as our two winners. Ivanka, Raina, Ivanka, Raina. Raina? Ivanka, same difference. You're still getting money. Another 5. Okay. Oh, jeez. There it is. Mixing it up a little bit. Okay, you can look.
I can look.
Well, you can.
Yeah.
Do we get it?
Yeah.
$20 winner right there. Not at all my favorite slide here, folks, but basically you are, and having lunch with Roz, I was saying, a lot of these situations came from my own experience. So bill collectors come knocking on the door. Literally, they don't come knocking on the door. They're going to call you. They're going to send you letters. They're going to send you emails. Why? Because you haven't been making payments to particular bills. It isn't just a credit card. It could be an electric bill. It could be a mobile phone bill. It could be a DirecTV, a Comcast, whatever it might be. All of these bills come into play. So the first thing you need to do is answer the phone. You need to talk to these people. If you answer the phone and don't pretend like they're not calling, you have the ability to tell them the truth. What's going on? I'm a college student. I have no job. I have no income. Yes, I did charge a lot on my credit card. What can we do about this? Well, if you do those two things, you can negotiate payments with them. They are going to want $100 a month from you. We need $100. You're going to say no. You're going to say, how about $5 a month? They're going to be happy with just about anything at that point. $5 is going to be great, so they're going to say, fine, $5, $10. Maybe they negotiate with you a little bit more. If you're not comfortable doing that, my advice is to contact a local nonprofit debt counselor. And I used the word debt counselor, I did not use the word consolidator, okay? Counselor is someone who can help you. We all probably had guidance counselors at high school, you probably have counselors here. It's someone that can help figure out your bill paying plan, how you can get yourself out of any trouble, out of any debt that you are in. If you are looking for examples, the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, nfcc.org. There's an 800 number here. I don't just pick these names. These are the same ones that the Susie Ormans out there, anyone who's really talking about finances is advising you to go to this particular site. Again, you're not saying Patrick, you're not saying big money, you're not getting any discounts because you're seeing the show. It's just this is where you should make those calls. All right, let's talk a little bit about savings. We've all had savings accounts, I'm assuming. Birthday money goes in there, you get money for the holidays, you get money that you pick up for odds and ends of jobs. So here's what I'd like everyone to think about. How soon can we start saving? Or when can we start saving actual money? So we may have a couple hundred, maybe a couple $1,000s, maybe in a savings account now. But over time, we want to be adding more money to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say at the age of 20, to give some of you a little buffer here, if you start saving $100 per month, and you can earn 10% interest on that money, you will have $637,000 by the time you turn the age of 60. Okay? Some of you out there are going, where am I going to get 10%? Maybe it's 8%, maybe a year it's 12%. On average, the stock market will return somewhere between 8 and 12%. Yes, there are some down years, but traditionally you can get those percentages. Here's the point I'm making though, regardless of what percent we're looking at, if you wait to start saving, all of a sudden look what happens. You've waited 1 year. You started age 21 instead of 20, you've missed out on about $60,000 in savings. You wait 5 years, you say, oh, I'm going to live paycheck to paycheck, I'm having fun after school, I'm just going to go spend the money, eat out all the time, have a great time. Well, guess what? Say goodbye to $250,000. If you wait 15 years, you wait until you're 35 to start actually saving and thinking about later times in life, you're missing out on $500,000 in savings right there. Okay? So the bottom line here is start soon, start early. Hey, you know what? If you could double that money, maybe it's $200, maybe it's $150. As you start progressing in your job, you'll be able to put more money away, and that money grows. The sooner you start, the better. Think about it. Where does this money come from, you're asking, Patrick? You're saying, wait, where am I getting this? Well, I want you all to think about whether the next thing you buy, or the next 10 things you buy, is it a want or is it a need? Is it a want or is it a need? Do I need it for school? Do I need it for actually my basic hygiene? Do I need it to help excel me? Do I need that tank of gas to get me to and from? Those are needs. The wants are a lot of the things that you have up here. It's the late night pizza, it's the concert tickets, all the electronics. It's the Justin Timberlake's Happy French Toast that they were auctioning off several years ago. It's the internet, I mean, it's all these things that people just think, oh gosh, I want it, I want it, I want it. There's a game, it's called Keeping Up with the Joneses, and unfortunately these days, there's a lot of Joneses out there. There's the person down the hall that just got the latest electronic device. There's a person back home that might have just taken a trip somewhere. There's another person. So you have all this kind of competition. And if you get sucked into that, which is a bad thing to do, you're going to end up in a lot of trouble. You're going to end up not saving money, you're going to end up spending money and again getting yourself into trouble. ATM, when it was first released, many, many years ago. Basically, the story behind this is use your own banks or your own credit union ATM. The great way, if you're not near your own bank's ATM, is to use your debit card and get cash back. Again, it's a no-brainer in many situations, but you don't want to get hit with those huge fees. $3, $4, $5, just to take $20 or $40 or $60 or $80 out. Where does your leftover financial aid money go? Which is the smartest quote here? So basically what we're talking about is if you took out too much financial aid, basically that's still your money, right? So there's a possibility of you getting an excess check. Have we already received our excess checks here? Okay. There's a chance you will think that you hit the jackpot. A check will show up. It's in your name. Okay, so I have 4 quotes here. Anyone who hasn't played yet who would like to play, I will give you 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pick a number. 2, 1, 3, and 4. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. First quote says, I usually use financial aid for my apartment. Great. Generally it pays for all of it. The rest I use for food and other activities. I like that. That's a good quote. Quote number 2 says, at first I'd buy school supplies and books, then splurge on DVDs or just a party, then conserve the rest to spend throughout the semester. If I had to choose between 1 and 2, sorry number 2, but I've got to go with number 1. Quote number 3 says, I had a loan last year and I used most of it for books and tuition. The rest I put in my SunTrust bank account, which is just for school stuff. Sorry, number 1, we're going to go with number 3 here. So I've got number 3 and I've got number 4 left. Number 4 says, I buy really expensive food, really expensive shoes, and pretty much anything else that I wouldn't want to buy with my own money. Definitely 3. Number 4, a lot of people get upset at the expensive shoes and the expensive food, but the myth here is this is your own money. You are responsible for this money. So the only thing that I would do better than quote number 3 is I would just have the check go right back to the place that I took the loan from. That way I do not have to pay interest on that. I will not have to pay that money back. So where is my number 3? My number 3, would you like bag or booth? Bag.
Booth.
Ooh. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you in the booth at the end of the show.
Okay.
We'll have you do it at the end of the show. Give you a chance to get through a couple more slides that I have. And we've got this gentleman. Ron, a junior at Aurora University, I asked him, if I said you had overdraft protection, I'd be talking about your blank. I think you said you had a chance to play, right? Right? Yes, you. Yes, yes. Yes or no? Do you think Ron will get this correct? No chance with Ron?
If I said you had overdraft protection, I'd be talking about
Good sealed windows in my house.
good sealed windows in your house.
Yes, that's mine. Unfreaking believable. Hey,
Oh, clumsy oaf! Michael Flatley must be turning over in his grave. Wait a minute, she's not dead. Yet. Michael Flatley.
Fantastic. Did not get it correct. Would you like bag or booth? Bag. Okay, so we've got a booth and a bag. I'll get you the bag. I'll get you the booth. Moving right along. What are we talking about? We're talking about a checking account, folks. It's the simplest math you can ask for. We're not talking about calculus and trigonometry and algebra and all that. When you put money in, you add it to your balance. When you take money out, you subtract it. Everyone right now should have a general idea of how much money they have in their checking account, right? The problem is when we take out more than we have, we overdraft on that account. We get hit with fees from the bank and maybe even fees from the merchant where we bought things from. And the bad news also is a lot of people will get their ATM receipts or get a receipt of what it looks like is in the bank, and they'll think, oh my gosh, I have more money in here than I thought I did. I'm going to go spend more. And this happens typically with college students. And then what happens is you go below zero. You overdraft on your account. Sometimes transactions take a few days to clear. So again, you should have a general idea right now of what you have in that account. Student loans versus credit card debt. A lot of people ask, which are better, which are worse? Well, student loans versus credit card debt. Student loans allow you to get the education which allow you to get a job. Credit card debt, it's the snowball effect. People ride the wave. The debt just accumulates. They go from one credit card to another. Bad news. In addition, the interest rate is lower in most cases with a student loan. With a credit card, it can be as high as 25% or even higher. The interest, believe it or not, if you haven't done your own taxes, is tax deductible. You can actually save by having student loan debt. Not that I want you to have it. Credit card debt, it just continues to grow. And finally, student loans, you can defer your payments for a period of time. Credit cards, only in the drastic of situations can you defer any type of payment on a credit card. So if you have a choice of getting rid of one of these two debts, you want to focus on that credit card debt. Okay? Obviously both eventually should go away, but credit card should be the number one priority. Finish this slogan, there are some things money can't buy. Don't yell it out if you know it. Anyone in the back row?
Happiness?
Happiness is the second most popular answer that I get, but unfortunately it's not correct. Yes?
Love?
Love is also very popular, but it's not the correct answer. Yes?
Freedom?
Freedom, it's more than one word. Go ahead, you want to try it?
Is it like time?
Not time, go ahead.
Oh.
Knowledge, no. It's a commercial. It starts out, there are some things money can't buy, but...
For everything else?
Go ahead.
MasterCard.
For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Your first game, $200. Your first strap, $30. Your first guitar, $450.
What if I try?
Rock and roll, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Accepted everywhere music is.
I know. Oh,
So before we go through the last couple of tips here, I want to congratulate everyone who did win money. Thank you everyone who played. I do want to say that this money, yes, you could very easily go spend it on something. But one of the requests is, think about where you could also save this money, where you could also use this money to pay down debt or something that you've borrowed in the past. So it's not a prize, it is a prize where you won, but you also have to think about things that, what could you do with that money that doesn't necessarily buy you something. So I've got 2 winners. Are you bag or booth? Okay, so I've got a bag, 2 bags and a booth. Last couple of things, get that credit card. I want you to talk it over with your family members, see if it's a good idea, but you have to think and be responsible when you use this particular card. Remember, those late payments, going over your limit, interest finance charges. There's a lot of fees with those. But I'm more worried about 5 years from now when you go to buy that car, you're going to be the one spending that extra money on interest. And I don't want that to happen. I want you to concentrate on making your payments on time, not having a lot of debt on your credit cards, having some type of credit history so you have the highest score possible. Check your own credit report, annualcreditreport.com. Even if it's saving a few dollars here or there, start out small. Maybe you can't save $100 a month. I get it. I totally get it. College students, right. Unless you have a job, unless you're working through the summer, all through the school year, you might be able to save. But otherwise, get in the habit of trying to do that. And again, thank you for everyone for being here. And I want to say, have fun, enjoy yourself, and we've got